I call this meeting of the Alvin Independent School District to order. Let the record show that a quorum of board members is present, that this meeting has been duly called, and that notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance with Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. We will begin tonight. If you'll please rise, Trustee Humbird will offer an invocation and lead us in the pledges.
Bow your head. Heavenly Father, thank you for letting us come here together. Thank you for letting us all get here safely and let us all get home safely. Lord, let us make the right decisions for the children of this district tonight. Keep us all safe. In your name we pray. Amen. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Earl. Okay, we'll turn the time over to Dr. Combs to introduce our greeters and commendations.
Thank you, President Taniti, Board, and Dr. Gilcrease. We have an exciting treat for everyone this evening. As you can see, we have a group that is eagerly anticipating showing off their skills. They have a little quick concert prepared for us, so y'all go ahead and make your way to your place. This is the Junior High Chamber Orchestra from Nolan Ryan Junior High. They recently competed in a competition hosted through the Renaissance Festival. It's the early music contest. There were 12 schools in their division, and as you can imagine, this group, under the direction of Ms. Fuentes, received first place. How about a round of applause for them? And so they're going to share a few songs with us this evening. Thank you all so much for joining us. I know that y'all are from Nolan Ryan Junior High because I see it written on the paper and I just read it, but if I had to guess from listening, I would have never guessed junior high. Can we give them one more round of applause? Thank you all so much for joining us tonight.
Good job, guys.
Unbelievable.
That was
Really good
beautiful.
job.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we'll be going back here.
Thank you. Thank you.
She wasn't going to let you touch that, was she, Jeff?
We'll have to say that's not a bad way to start off a board meeting. And it's kind of a precursor to our evening's commendations. Excellence in fine arts is certainly on display this evening. So our first commendations of the evening are based on something that happened on November 3rd. On November 3rd, all 7 of our Alvin ISD junior high fine arts programs, theater programs, participated in the UIL one-act play competition. It was hosted at Shadow Creek High School, and we definitely had excellence achieved that day. And taking first place in the competition, we had Manville Junior High under the direction of Kelsey McMillan. So anybody from that performance, if you're here this evening, please join us at the front. Their performance was the Great Pandemonium. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, as they're passing out the commendations, we're excited. We weren't sure how many were able to join us this evening with other obligations. And so we want to know who is with us. So we're going to start on the end. And if you'll introduce yourself and tell us your name and your grade.
My name is Kelsey McMillan. I am an adult grade. And I'm going to pass this over.
My name is Ian, and I'm in the 8th grade.
My name is Joshua. I'm in 8th grade.
Kiara Duran, 7th grade.
I'm Ann Armstrong, and I'm in 8th grade. I'm Ella, and I'm in 8th grade as well.
My name is Zachary Owen, and I am 7th grade.
I'm not in school.
Y'all are also in the adult grade, as I understand it. So congratulations to Manville Junior High. And if y'all get in close, we'd like to get a photo of those of you here this evening. And parents, please come forward, find the place that you would like to make sure you get the perfect photo. That's why we're here this evening. Congratulations to each of you. And Manville Junior High also during the competition received the award for the best overall tech crew. So congratulations for that accomplishment as well. Thank you, Manville Junior High. Next, receiving second place in the competition with the performance of 1,000 Cranes under the direction of Mary Sykes Asadi is Nolan Ryan Junior High. Congratulations, Nolan Ryan. If we have any folks from Nolan Ryan, please come join us at the front. All right. We're excited to have you all this evening. Okay, and if you could also tell us who we have with us this evening.
I'm Mary Sykes Assady, adult grade, theater director for Nolan Ryan Junior High.
I'm Meredith. I'm in 8th grade.
I'm Anna, and I'm in 7th grade.
I'm Ethan Paul Wiltz in 8th grade.
All right, congratulations, Nolan Ryan Junior High. Well done. And with the performance of The Crucible under the direction of Angelica Hernandez, we have Alvin Junior High in 3rd place. Congratulations. All right, and you have to tell us who is here with you this evening.
Okay, my name is Angelica Hernandez, and I'm the director. And
I'm Kristen Bush. I'm in 8th grade.
All right, another round of applause.
Danny,
Sir.
best actors too.
Yes, absolutely. We do need to bring back Avery Hughes. Avery, are you with us? Avery, all right, please join us at the front. Out of the whole competition, we had Avery Hughes, who played George in Once Upon a Playground from McNair Junior High, and he received the accolade of Best Actor from the whole competition. Congratulations, Avery. And Jaime Martinez is his teacher, and he is here to celebrate the accomplishment as well. Well, we just met a fine group from Alvin Junior High. We're going to ask them to come back up to the front because, lo and behold, the best actress in the whole competition was Christian Bush from Alvin Junior High under the direction of Miss Hernandez. Congratulations, Kristen. Sorry we called you up twice, but hey, we get to celebrate twice, and we are doubly proud of you. So well done. We look forward to your continued success. Round of applause for all these folks. Continuing with the theater theme, at the International Thespian Society State Convention, Alvin ISD students from all 3 of our high schools advanced to the National Convention and Competition in the International Thespian Society, which takes place in Lincoln, Nebraska. These students will be competing in various acting events, competing against the best and the brightest from across the country. And they will also be able to audition for scholarships and different accolades during this competition. So from Alvin High School, first we have Lauren Collins. From Alvin High School, we have Rachel Homan. Dulce Maxwell. And Madeline Weiskopf Davila. Yes, absolutely. And these students are under the direction of teacher Lori Reese. Congratulations, students from Alvin High School. We'll wait and get the perfect photo. That's why we're here. Perfect. Congratulations. Oh. High School, congratulations. From Manville High School, we have Garen Orozco. Madison Dupati. Liz Moreno. Well, I guess Manville High School wasn't able to join us, but we're still excited about their success, and they are under the direction of Leah Short. So moving on to Shadow Creek High School, we have also a student moving on to the competition, also receiving the recipient of the Texas Thespian Scholarship, Jasmine Richards. Also recipient of the Texas Thespian Scholarship, Maya Hunter. Likewise, recipient of the Texas Thespian Scholarship, Elliot Green. And one more recipient of the Texas Thespian Scholarship, Trevor Van Aken. Also participating in the competition, Miles Davis. Abby Fry. Louis Vera. And Isaiah Woodard. And these students are under the direction of Mr. David Soward, who is there. Please come join us at the front. Mr. Soward, congratulations to you as well. Perfect. Congratulations once again to each of you. When State Representative Ed Thompson of District 29 selected Alvin ISD to create an ornament to hang on the Christmas tree in the State House of Representatives, Alvin High School teacher Paige Moore was chosen to assist in designing the ornament representing the district. Mrs. Moore, along with her co-artist, Alvin High School sophomore Lauren Stansel, created the beautiful piece of artwork that you see on the screen, which is now representing our district in the Texas State Capitol. And their piece of artwork represents and features all the flora and fauna from Brazoria County. If we have Lauren Stansel and Paige Moore, if you're here, please come join us at the front. And I have to tell you, we received a copy of the publication that shows the artwork from around the state, and by far, y'all stood out. You did a remarkable job. So thank you for how you represented our district. All right, congratulations once again. Absolutely. Those are our commendations for the evening.
Thank you, Dr. Combs. Next on the agenda, we have a couple of presentations. First, we'll have a presentation of the schematic design for high school number 4. Mr. Miller.
Good evening, Board. Pleased to be here. I'm here along with Mike Lavalio with Huckabee Architects and Bill Van Wagner, Director of Building Programs, Alvin ISD, to give you a glimpse of the schematic designs for our high school number 4. We are probably about 30% into design and moving fast. Heck, it's been 5 weeks since we passed a bond election. It's time to to get going. So here we go. We want to give you, again, overview of exactly what will be in this particular project. The site allows us to have a 2-story building for this high school number 4, about 550,000 square feet. The site is actually about a 200-acre site, and it's in the wonderful city of Iowa Colony. The high school, actually, that site is intended to be a multi-campus site, future educational buildings to be built there at a later date. It has, again, an overall master plan that would include a junior high and an elementary school for the future. This provides an idea as to exactly the location of the high school down here off the 288 corridor in the city of Iowa Colony. Once again, just for reference, Shadow Creek High School is here, Manville High School is at this location, and our Alvin High School is over here. So the geography of the high school number 4 is that it will be south of Highway 6 and on the 288 corridor. When the future community committee gets together to establish attendance boundaries, we do not have attendance boundaries as of yet, and that'll be a future project that we'll have. It will, in its location down here, will help to provide relief to Manville High School, Shadow Creek High School, and again, its attendance zone most likely will reach eastward towards Alvin High School and help to reduce the attendance zone and the current capacity that we have at Alvin High School. So the design, again, emphasizes academics. It situates the reading, writing, arithmetic, science, the core academic courses for the high school in the very center of the overall floor plan. It's not in wings. It provides a great collaborative core area for the basic instructional curricula. The classrooms are sized at 955 square feet, which allows plenty of room for the classrooms to be reconfigured in order to fit the curricula and the needs of the curricula. The labs are at 1,400 square feet. A little bit of a typo right here. It is designed for 2,500 students, which is typical of the design of our other high schools. Administration is decentralized in that when you come in the front door, we have the main administrative pod to greet and to be able to sign up visitors and allow them on in. But additional to that, we have administration areas in another area of the first floor and an administrative area up on the second floor to help with administration and management of student activities. It does have hubs, again, that are instructional hubs that are in the center of the building where the core curricula is taking place. Additional to the strong academic base we feel like we provided in the design, it does have 3 large group instructional spaces, 10,000 square feet library, dedicated CTE classes that will allow transition into higher level CTE classes at our J.B. Hensler facility, an auditorium of 800, which again is consistent with 6A high school and our other auditoriums at the high schools we currently have, an auditorium that's attached. None of these amenities require students to travel outside of the perimeter of the main building. 3 gymnasiums out back, all the expected competition fields, track and tennis. There are some support buildings as well on the particular site to provide for maintenance for not only this high school, but all of the feeder schools, junior highs and elementaries, that are in the geography of high school number 4. Out back also, along with the competition fields and track and tennis, are ticketing buildings and the expected concession and restrooms. And so this begins to give you a look at how the 550 square foot 2-story building would lay out on the site there in Iowa Colony. This is 288 over here. Davenport Parkway is actually currently labeled on most of MapQuest, and on that particular road is County Road 64. Iowa Colony Boulevard is County Road 65. These roads, although they are asphalt roads now, will be being transitioned into concrete, curb and gutter roads in the near future. Along with the construction of High School number 4, we'll begin that process, and then future development will expand it so that those will be 4-lane boulevards in their final conclusion when they're built out. We also have on the west side of the high school site Discovery Drive. It will actually run north and south and parallel 288 and goes up and connects with the development of Meridiana. Meridiana development is just to the north. Our existing Liberty Field and Stadium and Alumni Center is just to the east, and across the intersection over here located where I have the laser pointed. You'll see on this site there is a significant amount of detention required. The detention criteria is changing and evolving on us, especially since we've experienced Hurricane Harvey. And so we will have a number of detention ponds on the site. This shows egress in and exit out for vehicular traffic. We've been able to manage and keep separate parent drop-off and pick-up. As you see, it would come in and follow the green route. Student access, and those students who are allowed to drive and have a permit to do so would be able to come in off of Discovery Drive and access the parking on the west side of the high school. And then the buses would come in off of Iowa Colony Boulevard, or currently, which is County Road 65, and come around and drop off on the back side of the building at the cafeteria. This next slide gives you a look at what the future of this particular site is intended to be. Again, once again, you see the high school and all the necessary and essential parking for it. The UIL outside activities, sports and athletics out here on the south side of the high school. And you see that we have plotted on the site a potential future junior high school and an elementary school. I'd like to turn it over to Michael Lavaglio at this point in time, and he's going to delve into the inside of the building and give you a preview of what that is expected to look like.
Pat, can I ask you a question before we get to that?
Yes, you can.
The retention ponds and stuff, does that cover the junior high and the elementary that we have there existing? These?
Okay. Some of this is just is not part of the design yet, and as the drainage criteria evolves, that will be vetted out. We don't know exactly what it's going to be for the junior high and the elementary at the point in time where the junior high and elementary are built. We are building with the high school to accomplish the necessary drainage to get permitted, and we are not able at this point in time to lock in and go ahead and build the detention for those other two schools.
Another question: are we able to use any of the retention over off of Heritage Complex?
No. Now, over at the Heritage Complex, the detention that we put in over there will satisfy the requirements of any future expansions we have over there if the district at some point in time moves forward with a performing arts center and or a district natatorium, and that is provided for. The drainage criteria that was in existence when that site was developed allowed us to go ahead and build out the detention, and it's grandfathered. So we are free and clear over there. This is kind of an evolving situation since Harvey. And just to be, to give you a little bit more insight, we're going to be doing in the city of Iowa Colony and some of the development around and near proximity to this site are going to be doing some additional studying in order to run some calculations and prove out to the city and the drainage district what actually is necessary and essential to make sure that development on that site for future schools is high and dry and doesn't suffer any consequences of any of the flooding that we have here. But that's some more studying and engineering to be done. And we're partnering actually with some of the adjacent landowners to provide that information back. Okay?
All right, thank you, Pat, and thank you, board. So we're focusing on the first floor of the high school. What you'll see is that it's clearly separated into sections. So on the right-hand side is your athletics, in the middle is your academic core, and below that your CTE. To the left of that is your cafeteria and kitchen, and then to the top is the main entrance into the building, which is your admin area, and then to the left is your auditorium, fine arts, and performing arts. So this zooms in onto your academic wing or bay. You'll see that all the classrooms relatively the same size, but enlarged. So we took some of the square footage from the collaboration spaces and put them back into the classroom to make the classrooms larger. So it gives the teachers more flexibility with the furniture. So if you look closely, there's different layouts of the furniture for collaboration and use for instruction. Below in the center is the lab classrooms. We've combined the lab and the classroom to make it the most efficient. You can have the lab set up and then also have instruction at the same time. In the center there, that's the main kind of collaboration space for the wing. And then what that Pat's pointing is that's the main street, and right across to the other side is the CTE classroom. So you'll see that the location and proximity to the academic wing to CTE is right across. So this is looking at the first floor of the CTE wing. This is a cafeteria and kitchen. On the cafeteria, there's a large stair that gets you up to the second floor, what we're calling the learning stair. Gets you up to the second floor, which is access to the library, counselors, and then your Go Center. This is the second floor plan of the high school. The second floor academic suite is just really a mirror of the first floor, but on the south side, that is your CTE spaces. That's showing the balcony suite of the auditorium, and then your library as well. This is the second floor of your CTE wing. And this is an enlarged plan of your library space, 10,000 square foot library. This is on the first floor, your main entrance into the building, showing your admin wing. The enlarged plan shows you the secured vestibule access. You come into reception, check in, and then go back into the main lobby. This is your fine arts and performing arts wing. This is a auditorium very similar to what we have in construction right now for Alvin High School. It's 900 seats with also a balcony. We have a dance cheer room, which is about the size of a practice gym. And then our band and chorus suites. We also have a black box theater, which is right across from your auditorium suite.
I'll make the statement too that the band halls do allow and have storage provided so that they can also serve as orchestra, since we have orchestra here tonight, because that is something that it will offer that option and opportunity if the board and district choose to do so. Of course, it has the choir.
All the art classrooms also open up to the outside to a yard where they can also do work.
Outside, but still protected, because they do actually have a closure around it, so that we do again have a secure perimeter for all of those classroom spaces.
This is a large plan of your athletic area. You see there's 3 gyms, the natatorium to the right, a large weight room to the left, all the locker rooms to the right, south adjacent of the gymnasium. So direct access to all your gym facilities. And then that's the pool natatorium. And then the location of this, which you'll see, is right directly outside of where all your fields, your main fields are going to be. So you have your 2 practice fields, baseball, softball, and then your track and football stadium. And then those are your tennis courts. So what this image is showing is how we could actually kind of segregate the school for security of after-school events. So if you have events going on for athletics, we can shut down that main academic core so you don't allow access back into there. And then on the left side, if there is a performing arts venue going on, we can shut down the other parts of the building to where you only open up your auditorium and then also allow access to your cafeteria. This is an aerial view looking back at the school from 288. So you'll see there's kind of 2 main entrances. The idea of the architecture of the building is that we would make the athletic entrance and the entrance into the school really prominent, is the wayfinding. So as soon as you pull up to the school, it identifies where to go. This is another view that was, I believe, from Davenport. And looking back there, that's 288, yes. Now this is the main elevation, so this would be your parent drop-off. We've got an area for kids to stay, to wait to get picked up and dropped off. This is the main entrance into the athletic wing. And then this is the main entrance from the bus entry. We have some outside dining area that's also secured, but it's your main entrance for the students that are getting dropped off from the bus. This is the main image that you would see walking into the building. To your left is your admin spaces. To your right is your auditorium. Just above is your the stair to get to the balcony of your auditorium. And then to the top left is your library. The colors haven't been selected yet, so this is just our kind of interpretation that you could have places for your logos and your school spirit. This is the image of the cafeteria. And in the back, you can see the large stair that gets you back to the Go Center and the library. And then this was that center spine and the academic wing for some soft seating, collaboration space for the students.
So the schedule has us, again, delivering schematic design tonight. We actually will be coming in January to the board meeting, making a recommendation for construction manager at risk to be awarded. That packet is out to the general contractors currently. By May, we will complete the construction documents and be putting them in for permitting. And simultaneous, in May, we will be bringing back to the board a recommendation for guaranteed maximum price so that we can go ahead and break ground then by no later than June. Substantial completion for the high school is January of 2022, at which point in time we would furnish and equip the building in the first quarter of 2022 and allow for the principal and staff to move in that spring and be ready to go that summer. That summer of 2022, they would have full access to the building so that they could register and that all the UIL and club activities that typically in a high school get started in the summer would have the full summer to go ahead and engage and start getting themselves prepared to start the school year. Any questions?
Can you go back to one of the area ones?
This is from 288, looking southeast.
Okay. Where is the auditorium at on here?
Auditorium would be on this end, and again, you'd enter through the front, and then you'd come over here. The entrance for the athletics that we were showing you is back over here, and this is the athletic wing. This two-story, this portion of the roof is the two-story classroom core curricula area.
So is this parking where we've got buses, is that strictly gonna be buses, is that gonna be automobiles too?
And so this is where buses can stage. Buses will be coming through here. They won't necessarily park and stack like that all day long there, but we do have them, and we're looking at having them do chevron parking for loading and unloading, which is something that a lot of school districts use.
It may be closer than what it is, but it sure seems like it's a long way for softball and baseball parking there. I say, looking at the picture,
Sure.
it's a long way from there.
And so this is the ticket area to enter into the athletic venue. And so this is all the parking that would serve the football and soccer and track, and also serve baseball and softball.
Pat, on that aerial, can you show me, so you were mentioning that art classes have a way to get outside. Can you show me the fine arts area on that picture so I can understand?
Yes. That window in that area is over here, correct, Michael? Right there, okay. Back over here. Now, what is not depicted on here is that we're studying and looking at how we end up closing with architectural fencing some of the outside activities that happen, so that on any given day, based upon the nature of what's going on that particular day, that again, we can we have the ability to tighten the perimeter around the building for safety and security reasons.
And where are the band halls on
The band halls are on this end. All of the visual and performing arts are on this end of the building right here.
Okay, and is there egress from the band hall?
Out to the, so it would be right out through here.
And is there, when they go out, where is the, or, I know you guys know what you're doing, I'm just curious. Where is that relation to where the buses can stop? I was just curious.
The buses will be able to pull up into this area right here. This is the cafeteria. This is the entrance that the bus rider children will go in. And again, you see the spine of the hallways here. And so, you know, to get out to the buses, if we're talking about loading to go to on a trip, and it's a bus trip, and it's not just normal morning and afternoon dismissal and arrival, then they would be able to move straight down this hallway and do loading right here in this area.
And also to the left of that is where your band practice will be outside.
Okay, thank you.
Pat, could you go back to the athletic fields, the overview that you're just looking at, please? So those walkways to the different athletic fields, are those going to be lit up for evening games and getting back to the parking lots and all? Will those be lighted pathways from the parking lots?
The correct answer is yes.
Just making sure if they were.
And so schematic design hasn't gotten into some of the detail, but I already know, I can count that on the fact that they will be. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And just to kind of go off track and standard procedure, I would love to answer and express to you that a lot of the difficulties currently we endure at Alvin High School and the auditorium there are going to be remedied to your pleasure and will bring a big smile to your face. And I can't wait for you to go into the new one at Alvin next fall, and I think we'll answer all your prayers. with accessibility.
Thank you, Pat. Any other questions from the board?
I have one, but I don't know if you know the answer. How wide is the building, like compared to Shadow Creek? This just looks, it looks really long and wide, which is not necessarily
That's a good
bad.
question.
I
couldn't.
contextualize.
Sure, I couldn't stand here and dimensionally tell you what that overall total length of Shadow Creek High School is versus this. Now, I will tell you this, that you know, just like the swimming pool is incorporated into the building here, whereas you know, Shadow Creek, it's outside of the building. So if that's, we can, by all means, we can give you, so conceptually you have a feel for it. We can give you that information and follow up on the weekly report.
Okay.
Is that good? Sure. Does that work? Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And next, we'll have Mr. Robele give us a presentation on Elementary Contract Officer Program.
Good evening, Board. I'm here tonight to give you an update on our mid-year evaluation of the Elementary Contract Officer Program. Tonight we're going to talk about the objective of the program. We're going to give you some of our operational metrics and results. We'll give you an idea of the detailed expenses to date and what we project for the remainder of the semester of the school year. We have some survey input from teachers, staff, and parents, and then some very specific input from elementary campus principals. Remember at the end of last year, after May the 18th, after the Santa Fe High School shooting, we had local agencies that helped cover elementary campuses, and they did that of their own accord for the last 2 weeks of school. We asked if they could continue that program this year, and they weren't able to do that, obviously. But they did say that they would have increased patrols of our elementary campuses. The reason we focused on elementary campuses is because we have enough of our own internal police officers to cover all of the junior high and high schools. But we have 18 elementary campuses that had 6 patrol officers who go between the 18 schools, and they also have duties to go down to juvenile court and other things that take them from making their rounds. And so we had some coverage issues with elementary campuses. So we took a look at a lot of different solutions this summer and ran some analysis on everything from paraprofessionals with radios to security guards to police officers to hiring police officers. And in order to get this program started on the 16th of August, the first day of school, we opted to go with independent contractors or contract police officers. These are police officers from local agencies that are working an extra job at Alvin ISD at one of our 18 elementary campuses. The objective of the program was very simple. Sitting down with Chief Putnell and his folks, we want to deter and to be able to respond. So we want to provide armed law enforcement presence at each of the campuses, and we want to reduce the amount of response time in case there's a critical incident or emergency. Here are some of the results and the operational metrics for the first semester since August. We have 21 local police agencies that are individuals who are signed up to be our contract officers. The big three, we call them, Alvin, Manville, and Pearland PD. We have Texas DPS, we have county constables, and we have law enforcement from a lot of the small cities and municipalities around Alvin. 92% of our assignments were filled. That's about the same as teachers or normal employees we'd have at the district with people out sick. And with this group of folks, they sometimes get held over at work or they get called out, and so we have an 8% absentee rate, which we think is better than we thought it was going to be. In a survey of those contract officers that work with us, and it's upwards of 100 that are signed up to be eligible for these assignments, 72% of those officers actually live inside the boundary of the district. I guess you could conclude from that so the money that we spend on the program stays within the confines of the district. That would be one way to look at it. And then a whopping 68% of those officers either have children or close family members who are in Alvin ISD schools. Now, I've had a chance to shake hands and to meet most of these officers, and most of those officers work in the school where their loved one or their family is. To them, it gives them a sense of pride to be there, and they have more skin in the game, so to speak. And so they were very happy to help us provide that service. We did have a 5% decrease in overall calls for service for our own police department. That's not a huge number because a lot of the things that have to be resolved still need to have a school resource officer show up, but the response time was cut. The police officer on duty could respond, could start to handle the situation, and they would call in one of our patrol officers who would show up. We have terminated 2 of our independent contractors. In fact, I think we may be up to 3 by now, but that's just because they're not meeting our professional standards. That's a good part of the program because we don't have any post-employment liability with those folks. There's no unemployment or workers' comp and things since they're all independent contractors. Some of the operational objectives that we noted were that we've had no major incidents. We have had reduced response times when a police officer is needed on an elementary campus. These officers have a checklist of about 20 items that they're required to go through several times a day, checking to make sure that doors are closed, that the outside is secure, there's no parking lot issues, that gates and fences are secured, and that there are no issues in the front office. So they have a long list that the chief and his folks have given them that they're supposed to do, including making sure that security cameras are operational. And then probably the thing that the public notices the most is what law enforcement folks call command presence and public visibility. Just having the officer there. We ask for the officer to be on the front porch in the morning during arrival. We ask them to be through the school, back over by the bus. Most of the elementary schools have opposite ends of the school where they have bus and parent drop-off. To be visible in those locations out there. From going around to the campuses myself, I've seen that they're doing a very good job. And when they're not, the campus administrators let us know, and then we're able to go and make those corrections through our patrol sergeants. Here's what it cost us for the first semester. Of course, we still have some bills to pay until the last day of school in December, but it'll be about $433,000 is what it cost us. Just some rough estimates. It costs us about 35% less to have a contract officer do this than it would to have a full-time officer because we're only paying for 173 days. We don't pay for the whole year and all the benefits, et cetera. And we've made some budget adjustments that are in your packet that are not on the slides tonight. Projecting that if we filled 100% of our assignments in the second semester, we'd spend about $448,000 for a total of $881,000 for the program this year. I have some slides here because I wanted to get the input from stakeholders. So I have done these public surveys many times before in the past. Generally send that out in the newspaper, through e-news, put it on our website, ask every stakeholder in the district to contribute to that survey. This time we only sent the survey to elementary principals and asked them to share it with their parents and with their staff. And so I got almost 1,900 responses, which is 4 times the amount that I've ever gotten before in a district-wide survey, which tells me there's a lot of interest in this particular topic. So I apologize for the small writing there, but I'll give you the facts and figures there. Almost 1,900 responses. In question 1, the question is, how safe do you or your child feel with contract police officer present each day? And the top 2 responses are very safe and extremely safe. Those together are 87%. So anything over a 75% is a very firm decision on the part of the people taking the survey. So 87% is very high. The other thing that struck me was that there were almost 900 verbatim written responses. The last question asked, what else could we or should we be doing? About almost 900 people of the 1,900, so about half, bothered to write very thoughtful comments. And then I put those in groupings of themes in your packet, and I'll have it on the last slide here. One other important thing to know is that I got most of these responses within just a few days. One thing we look for when we do surveys is if you leave a survey open for longer than 10 days, you start to have factions develop where people start to talk and say, well, let's all go and jam the results on a survey. But if you get results back within a few days, it's a purer result. So these results we got back within 7 days, most of the results back within 7 days of sending the link out to the folks on eNews. The second question was, should the school district continue to have a contract police officer? That was a whopping 92% said yes. Third question, how important is it to you to have an officer present on your campus each day? Those two top above and far above average importance was 84%. This question was, do you feel the contract police officer is contributing to keeping your child safe at school? That was a 94% said yes. And then one thing we wanted to know was, we want to be good stewards of our tax dollars, and so we asked, considering all of the budgetary needs of the school district, what priority would you give continuing the contract police officer program at your campus? Those top two responses are high and very high priority, or 85%. Next, I'm going to show you some verbatim results. It's a little bit of an eye chart because there's a lot of words on there, but I tried to capture recurring themes. Now, these are actual verbatim comments, but they represent several along that same theme. So there were several responses where they said teachers should carry concealed weapons and we should have metal detectors. And I had several hundred that said that in that same theme. The other one was, I don't want my child to end up like Santa Fe or Sandy Hook. Interesting, this Friday is the 6th anniversary of the Sandy Hook Elementary shooting 6 years ago. Thank you for implementing the police officer this year. It definitely makes me feel at ease when picking up my child from school, and several dozens of people along that same line just wanting to express thanks for having the program. And then this one was very strongly worded, and I struggled whether to put it on there, but then as I kept reading through the 900 verbatim results, I kept seeing this theme over and over and over again. I'd suggest that the school district never consider doing away with contract police officer. It appears the district may be looking for a specific survey result to justify not paying contract officers in the future. Our children being safe at school is paramount. The school district should be embarrassed at removing contract police officers. Again, it's strongly worded, but I can tell you there are several dozen that said, we will move districts if they take the police off. Very strongly worded thoughts from people, so I wanted to convey that to you. The next comment says, I think it's perhaps random visits by police officer to establish the president of school would be good. This goes on to say basically some things that we are considering that we're going to bring to you in February at Budget Workshop about some other ways to cover schools that maybe we can do with some good tactical policing without having to have an officer at every school, but it's left open for discussion, obviously. We need this program. If it's budgetary issues, I don't think any parents would have any problems funding the extra police officers. We need them. So there were lots of comments about money shouldn't be the issue. That's second to last down there. Our school is located in a rural area. We need contract police officers, vital for our school. Having an armed officer on campus makes us feel safe. And then there were dozens and dozens of, hey, we appreciate the police officers being here, but they shouldn't be on their cell phones. And so the chief and Captain Fontenot have taken care of a lot of that. They've sent out several training bulletins to our contractors, and they've met with some, and we've had to let some go because of things like that. This next is the actual verbatim comments from some of the campus principals. I've taken the names off for this public viewing, but you have it in your packet. They all say, in one way or the other, thank you, but I want to bring your attention to this comment here. In my 15 years on my campus, first year, I haven't been yelled at or cussed or threatened in any way. So that's a residual benefit to the program, is that several of the elementary principals have expressed that their campuses are much more peaceful and that in the parking lot there are no arguments and people cutting in line and some things. We realized that that's a residual benefit, but it was of importance enough that the principals mentioned it. Moving forward, we're going to continue the program through the school year, which is through the end of May 2019. We'll bring detailed proposals for 1920 to budget workshop in February, I believe. We're calling this our program evaluation mid-year review. We talked about the objective of the program, the metrics and results, the return on investment, if you will, some detailed expenses, the input from stakeholders, and also from the campus principals. Are there any questions for me?
That survey was very telling. That was great. Thank you.
It is.
Well worded.
It certainly is. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abilene. Okay. Item 7 on the agenda is an announcement of board training. So each year we're required to announce board credits twice during the school year. And at this time, the board is on track to exceed training once again. So, okay. We are now to the open forum portion of the agenda. If you would like to address the board, you should have completed the public participation form and submitted it to the superintendent's secretary prior to the meeting according to policy BED local. After I call your name, please come to the podium and state your name and address and the purpose for addressing the board. Please understand that you will have 5 minutes to speak. If there are 5 or more people who wish to speak on the same subject, please select one individual to be the spokesperson. The public participation portion of the board meeting shall not exceed 30 minutes. I respectfully ask that you make no derogatory statement about any board member, student, or employee of the school district. I ask that you also understand that the board cannot take action on your request or comment at this time. However, the president or a designee may refer the request to the superintendent for review. And on that, we do have one open forum request. Is Mr. Randall Langston in the audience? Thank you.
It's ironic, this is kind of fits in line with everything y'all have been discussing today, so that's good.
Okay, my name is Randall Langston. I live in Brazoria County, out between and the country. It's interesting the things they've been talking about today because this kind of fits in with where I'm going with this. Recently had occasion to attend one of the elementary schools for a school function and was kind of taken aback by the fact that I was told I had to surrender my driver's license in order to get on the school property. I was told that it was a school policy or district policy, that it had to be done, and that if I didn't do so, then I wouldn't be allowed to come on the property. Wasn't happy about it, but I did it. I even made a call to Mr. Thrasher, who I believe is a school employee, and I discussed it with him briefly, and was going to let it go, but then a couple days later I heard about a lady that went to have lunch with her son, was dropped off by somebody, and was denied access to a school because she doesn't have a driver's license, nor does she have an identification card. State of Texas did not require citizens to have an ID. A lot of people believe that they do, but they don't. So I thought, well, I'm going to talk to the board about it and address what I think is an issue. I did some research. Penal code says that an individual citizen of the Texas only has to surrender their driver's license to 3 different people. That's a DPS representative, a police officer, or a judge. So taking a person's driver's license is compliant with policy, but not necessarily compliant with law. I was told it was about student safety and to make sure that people left the school. Okay, I understand that. I have a full respect with everything that's been talked about here for the student safety. I thought about it afterwards, and I thought, if I'm a bad guy and I give them my driver's license, but they don't check me to see if I have a weapon of any kind, what good is the safety of the kids? Doesn't make any sense to me. If I'm at an elementary school and I'm not an employee and I'm taller than this, which I am a little bit, I'm not supposed to be on the property. So they should be having somebody, one of the police officers or one of the school staff, faculty or staff, checking me out. I wasn't real comfortable with releasing my driver's license to somebody. Got a lot of pertinent information, and as we all know, identity theft is a major issue in this country. Not saying that any of the teachers would do anything, but there's good and bad in every profession. If I forgot my driver's license and I left the school without taking it, or if it got lost for some reason, I don't think the school district would be willing to pay for me to get another one or cover the $20 dismissal fee if I was to get a ticket driving without a license. We've had issues talking about some of the safety issues for the kids. There are no unsolved domestic terroristic incidents in the United States that haven't been solved one way or the other. Either the bad guy was caught or the bad guy is no longer with us. So those kind of things, I think just having to give up your driver's license is not going to solve anything. I'm not one to come to you with a problem or an issue without coming to you with some ways to fix it, okay? So I'm going to talk about that. All of the new school, first, let me back up. Alvin High School is an absolute mess. I'm not even going to try to talk about Alvin High School. All the new schools have got security cameras set up in the hallways. Contingent on funneling people in and out the same exit and entrance. If you set somebody up with a computer and a camera, you could take their picture without having to take their driver's license. If they don't have a driver's license, you still got a way to identify this person. So you take a picture, you put it on the computer, you give them a little numbered card after they sign in, you know who this person is. That's just a thought. It's an easy fix. Did some research into door locks. They have key card door locks that can be affixed on the inside and outside of all doors, accessible by teachers that would regulate and control who comes in and out of the school and when and where they came in and out of the school at. This, again, would require them to go in and out one particular area. And last but not least, there are a number of companies out there that have GPS discs that you could put in a bracelet, that you could put in a card to issue to people so that while they're on the property of the school, you can monitor exactly where they're at everywhere in the school. There's companies like Aardmark that is a uniform company. They can tell you where every pair of pants and every uniform shirt they got is, because they've all got the little tags in them. I bring this up just because I don't think this is a fix for people having to give their driver's license to somebody, especially if they don't have one, to fix a school safety problem or to make sure that somebody leaves the school. And I'm only addressing it because I would like to think that the board would go, maybe he makes a little sense. My wife didn't agree, but there's other ways to fix the problem out there. And I don't think what they're doing now with this policy is doing that. So with that being said, I appreciate your time. 5 minutes?
You got it. Thank you for your time, Mr. Langston.
So I do want to make a statement that after that you know, part of the hardest thing that a board has to do in a community in general is to create policies that everybody agrees with, and quite honestly, that is an impossibility. You're never going to create a policy that everybody agrees with in general. I do understand the nuisance that is involved with some of our procedures that we put in place for safety. And I have had this conversation multiple times with employees in the district that it's a real pain when I leave my badge at home, because there are things that I have to at that point do that I normally wouldn't do. One of them is including when the superintendent of schools walks into a campus and if he does not have his badge on, I surrender my driver's license and have it scanned through the Raptor system, and I receive a visitor's tag. And so I understand that what we're asking is difficult for some people, but I also understand this, that our student safety is the #1 priority that we have every day. If we can't be safe at school, then learning and all the other parts that we do are second place. And so unfortunately, in the world today, this is the world we live in, policies like these are going to exist because, and may be seen by some as being overboard, outrageous, however you want to look at it. But I think we're putting them in place with the right intent, and we're not putting them in place to hurt someone. And so I know that this policy is constantly under review, as is many other things. In the next January board meeting, you will actually have an update on where we are with our update of the district security plan. These are conversations that are ongoing on a constant basis. We actually have a standing committee to work on this. So although I do apologize for inconvenience, I won't ever apologize for putting policies in place that keep our children safe every second that we have responsibilities for them.
Okay. Moving on in the agenda, item number 9 is the consent agenda. Are there any items that any board member would like to pull? Okay. Hearing none, is there a motion to approve consent agenda items A through E?
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Humbird. Is there a second? Second. Second by Ms. Winterstrom. Any questions? Okay. All in favor of approving consent agenda items A through E? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, board.
Item 10 on the agenda is a request to consider approval of the first reading of policy FNF local.
It does seem we're on a theme here tonight. In our local policy FNF, which is reflective of the legal policy, it does require us, if we're going to use various resources to ensure safety of our students, that we have to spell those out specifically. One of those is this, that if students are going to have to pass through or experience some sort of metal detector, the policy has to state that that is an option. And so with this change in the first reading, this will allow freedom. As you can see, the wording that's actually added there in the policy at the bottom of, what is that, page 38, that it would allow for metal detector searches, random metal detector searches. We would be using wands at our campuses. Our recommendation is that we adopt this policy to allow for those random searches.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the policy as presented?
So moved.
Go ahead. Okay. Motion by Ms. Pickren. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Ms. Harris. And is there any questions? Okay. Hearing none, all in favor of approving local policy FNF as presented? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, board.
Item 11 is a request to consider approval of annexation of high school number 4 site into the MUD District 55.
Mr. Miller's going to explain this one for us.
Yes, and you saw the location of high school number 4, and generally that is a little bit somewhat of a rural area, and there is not an availability of utilities at every street and on every street corner in the city of Iowa Colony. That site actually is partially in Iowa Colony and part of it is not. But it is adjacent, and Iowa Colony does not currently have any city utilities. It is adjacent to MUD 55. MUD 55 is the utility provider for the Heritage Center, and so in negotiations and investigation for that particular site, MUD 55 has agreed that they would be willing to annex us into MUD 55, through which we would get water and sewer services. And that's what this is about, is asking permission that the board grant us the ability to go ahead and negotiate with MUD 55 for utilities for high school number 4.
Thank you, Pat. Is there a motion to approve annexation of the high school 4 site to MUD District 55?
So moved.
Motion by Ms. Scheibel. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, and there's a second by Ms. Matoyer-Peterson. Are there any questions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor of approving the motion as presented? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
We have a request to consider an award of the guaranteed maximum price for junior high number 8.
Board, this is actually package A for junior high number 8. We were trying to get started on this. You remember we had the schematic design presentation in October, November, as we move forward. If you'll also remember that, we asked Mr. Rhodes to open junior high number 7, and he opened it full. And so we told him not to do that, but he completely ignored us. And so we're trying to get a head start on junior high number 8. This would allow us to get into the part of the first part of the package, which is dealing with infrastructure and getting the site ready to go. So our recommendation is that we adopt this guaranteed maximum price not to exceed $5,868,649.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the guaranteed maximum price not to exceed $5,868,649?
I moved.
There's a motion by Ms. Harris. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Winterstrom. Are there any questions or comments?
Just why are we doing this in 2 phases? Why are we not doing the whole package?
The fast answer is that we had this stuff put into place to be ready to go if and when the bond passed. And so it lets us get ahead on the schedule so that we can open this building in a fall instead of being with a substantial completion in a December, and it gets us a head start.
That is correct. The construction of this project was part of the November bond election. Typically, we would begin junior high's construction in October or November. So we are already 60 days behind what would be our normalized construction schedule, and we need to hit the ground running now with the passage of the bond. And so we're expecting to break ground in January. And if we would delay until we have a full set of construction documents, we would hold ourselves up and we would not be able to deliver this junior high school in the year 2020. And so we broke it into 2 packages to fast track the site and civil work and all the way through the building foundation and structural steel package. We'll be back in January asking for and making a recommendation for approval of package B, which that is all being designed right now. I want to go out to the subcontractors for competitive bidding, and that package A and package B cumulatively will be the grand total package guaranteed maximum price for the junior high.
Mr. Humbird, those architects work by the hour, and so Oh, I'm sorry, Michael.
Any other questions? Okay. We've had a motion and a second. All in favor of approving the motion as presented? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
And we have a request to consider employments.
Board, as always, we get this, it's every month. We don't ever have a month where we don't get to do this, but additional employees as we move forward with the student growth. our recommendation is to adopt the list as presented.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the requested personnel as presented? There's a motion by Mr. Humbert. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Winterstrom. Are there any questions? Hearing none, all in favor of approving the requested personnel items as presented? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Board.
Item number 14 on the agenda is a request to consider approval of an administrative appointment for the principal for Bell Nefagar Sanchez Elementary.
Board, as you know, we opened, we tried to hire those principals in the mid-year so they can have a chance to open our new campuses. Sanchez Elementary School will be opening in the fall, along with Nelson Elementary School, but Nelson Elementary School, again, is a move from Alvin Elementary over. And so it is that time in December to make the hire of the principal. It is indeed my privilege to recommend one of our own to take this role and to have this adventure, and our recommendation is Rosemary Reed.
Is there a is there a motion to approve Miss Rosemary Reed as principal for Sanchez Elementary? There's a motion by Ms. Harris. Is there a second? By Mr. Humbert. And any questions? All in favor of approving Rosemary Reed as principal of Sanchez Elementary? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, Board. Yeah, yeah.
Very good. Now we're on to the superintendent's report.
So the question is this, Ms. Reed, Sanchez going to hug too?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. So I don't know, if you've been to Passmore, I was here about, I don't know, was it the first week, wasn't it? Yeah. And I walked in and I couldn't make it, but about every 5 feet, and somebody was hugging me. And finally, I ran into Rosemary, and she looked at me and just looked at me with a straight face like, don't you know that at Passmore we hug? And so I'm assuming the same thing will happen at Sanchez. So very, very good. So I don't know if you were on November 29th, the Army Golden Knights parachute team parachuted into the stadium from an elevation of 3,000 feet. The entire student body was there. It was a great opportunity for our students to see their skill, but then to also have an opportunity, especially for some of our ROTC students, to have a chance to visit with some people. And the students were amazing as they watched this incredible feat of skill from our military services. The annual Shelley Garza Memorial ACC Can Feed the Hungry Food and Toy Drive was a huge success. More than 390 area families in both locations were helped out and treated this year. The breakfast is always cooked by the ACC Culinary Arts Program. 28 years this has been going on. It's a great event that occurs usually on that first Saturday of every December. Alvin ISD, Stevenson Elementary School, Alvin Primary, Glen York, Laura Ingalls Wilder, Meridiana, and R.L. Stevenson have all accepted a $23,000 grant from Phillips 66. This is a part of their KICS program, which is keeping your kids safe keeping your kids safe at your campus. And we greatly appreciate our partnership with Phillips 66. These guys are phenomenal partners with us, not just in the grant giving, but they do so much for our campuses and work with us. We're very appreciative. Via Calori, which is a street art event. So in November 17th and 18th, we had students that took place in a special event. This is a group that creates impressive chalk murals on the streets of downtown Houston. They raised more than $400,000 annually to fund health and education services for children with hearing loss in the Houston area. And so our students were able to be with them. The pictures don't do it justice, from what I understand, of the incredible artwork that was created on those days, and our students were such an integral part of that. We also then had an hour of code again this year. Is this the third or
I want to say it might be the
fourth year? I think it is the fourth year. And so, you know what, and Ms. Scheibel was integral in getting this started in our district, and just seeing the kids and when they realize that they can write that language, make those computers do things that they want them to do. And so it has been a great opportunity to raise awareness in our district for students across the district.
Can I say something?
Yes, absolutely.
So I just really kind of brought the idea. What was really helpful were administrators, cabinet people, principals, teachers that have just taken it on, and our technology department, it makes it all happen. They do a lot of work, and they clearly enjoy it almost as much as the kids. So I just really appreciate how the district has, you know, taken it on, and you can't go to any one of these sessions without just getting a smile on your face seeing these kids. It's very special, and I really appreciate all the efforts of all the good folks we have in our district. Thank you.
And on to the next round for the Shadow Creek Sharks. Next Saturday, 6 p.m. at NRG, take on Wagner High School Thunderbirds. They're the only Thunderbirds in the state, right? So, yeah, so the Wagner High School Thunderbird. That's right, that's right. So that's from the San Antonio area, but it doesn't matter. They're just going to have a long bus ride back at the end of the night. So don't forget that school will be out December 21st through January 4th. Students returning and teachers, everybody returns on January the 7th. You guys, and again, have a happy holiday.
Thank you. Okay. Does any board member have an item to add to future agendas? Okay. And then we are.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Okay. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Winterstrom. All in favor of adjournment? Motion passes 7-0.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Thank you. See that? And try that. Like department chairperson apology. And she commented, we're going to have pictures terrified. Well, it's supposed to be.
Come in.